what triggered me to make today's video? I was looking for spare parts. Like I always have to look for spare parts. That's one of my job criteria. So I passed the VIN number to my supplier. He's like a middleman. He would then source for the parts from an OE supplier, because generally we always try to use original parts. And then the thing was, so keep in mind, the cars that we are looking for, they are like 20-30 years old. Not always they're in stock, the parts. What we obviously do is then, okay, if it's not in stock, I have the part. So I had the part number, and what I wanted to do is just confirm if that was the part number. And guess what? There was something that they did not want to provide. It wasn't my supplier, but the person obviously above him, so they did not want to provide. And I was thinking, in this day and age, it's not 1995 where internet is difficult or part numbers are state secret. Anybody can go online, put their VIN number in, and get part numbers out for whatever they're looking for. And it's no secret, even with part pricing, because there are reputable shops online that you can buy parts from. And to me, I understand everybody has to make money. Same with me. But if the parts was locally available and you can get it instantaneously, then sure, I would say you can do a premium on it. But let's say if the spare part shop has to order it in as well, but to charge a premium on that, then so that's where I think it's a bit too much. And I obviously want to just bring it in on myself, have a fixed rate that I charge my customer, which is still much more cheaper than whatever that they quoted me. And the thing is, you would assume that, oh, maybe they take responsibility for if the part is wrong. I can tell you that from experience, no, they don't. And especially with original parts. I'm not speaking for other countries, only in Malaysia. When you do buy original parts, it's funny because they say, oh, there's no warranty on original parts. I'm assuming this to save the dealers, so you can unless you install it with a dealer, then you get warranty on the part. So if we were to use an original part, most of the time there's no warranty on it, which I think it's not a very good rule or whatever that it's called. But that brings me to the next point: workshops themselves. I take pride knowing that if, let's say, I build a customer a vehicle, and just one vehicle, and I don't see him or her for a period of time, I think that's a job well done, because I have taught them enough, I've educated them enough regarding their vehicle, that I would only have to see them when there's modifications or is to do maintenance. And I'm very happy with that. So whatever knowledge that I have, I will try to pass it on to them so that they can be able to diagnose when they're on the fly whether, like what's happening to the car, and then know whether they need to contact me for it. I feel like a lot of people say knowledge is power, but I think sharing is where it's at. I'm 34 years old. I started this when I was maybe 22, 23. I only got to know with the knowledge that I have today. It's because, one, obviously, yes, there are books that I read, and then the workshop manuals, but most importantly, online forums, YouTube, for DIYers to know, because people are willing to share. And I think that's something that has to be changed in Malaysia. Sometimes even between shops, you don't want to tell. Like I believe that if you can't tell, and if you're so scared that a customer would run, someone will attempt to do it yourself, then sure, then it should be that way, because they weren't meant to be anyway. So might as well you share the knowledge you have. See how the outcome comes. At the end of the day, we all getting it from somewhere, and hence comes back to the next point: why I don't do repairs. For me, repairs requires diagnosing. So diagnosing a vehicle takes time. So let me give you an example. I'll be right back. Let me get so now this is a picometer. It's a picoscope. So what it is it's just an oscilloscope for me to be able to look at wavelengths and times to check for error of whether it's CAN bus issue or injection or whatever. And these things are not cheap. But I believe in not throwing parts into like just throwing random parts until you fix something. And for the example would be a good friend, and also a customer, Ezra's Colorado. So I built his Colorado maybe 7 years ago, something like that, and his car is actually an East Malaysian car, shipped to me in West Malaysia, built it, and he went back there. And while he was there, he wasn't the one using it. It had a lot of issues. It couldn't start at one whole point. It just failed completely, so they switched up a lot of parts. They did the BCM, they did the BCM, they did the PCM as well. and things like that. And the car was shipped here and there, and it didn't come to me though. So it was everywhere until they got it started. And there were a lot of wires tapped here, a lot of wires tapped there. It back to me because he wants to build a family camper that we can ship to a different country that he could use. But in order for me to release the vehicle, I need to make sure that it doesn't fail on him while he's out with the family. And the only way for me to do that is to make sure that to be able to test the very much I can do, and this all takes time. So we're already so piled up with the repairs that we have to do for clients that and customers that they appreciate the work that we put in. Hence why we don't do these small repairs. And generally, I always recommend a different shop that they could go to if there's a specialized vehicle that they want to do. I'll normally send them towards a shop, and hence why I only take the major repairs or the full rebuilds and restorations are just things that I enjoy doing. So why don't I do walk-ins? That's another thing I get asked often. Time is precious, we all know that, and this is for everyone. The clients that I have, the customers that I have, they are willing to make an appointment with me, spend some time, talk about their vehicle that they're building. Although technically they could just walk in and look at their vehicle any time of the day, that's fine. But they take the trouble to do that with me, and I really appreciate that. So my time and even my staff, which is so few of them, we are a very, very small crew. We try to do very, very big things, and we accomplish a lot of cool stuff. So the thing is, we are all doing multiple tasks or multiple jobs in with whatever vehicles that we have in house. So we really don't have the time to talk to a new walk-in or to try to look at a vehicle just ad hoc like that. It doesn't work that way, and I hope it's something that people can understand. And this shop is not for everyone. I'm okay with that. If you want the cheapest option, the fastest turnover, and for someone who just says yes to everything, I'm really not the person that you should be looking for, or the shop that you should be looking for. Thankfully, there are a lot of people in the industry that sort of do what I do, that you can opt for. I'm really not here to compete with price, to do the fastest build. I just want to do a good build. Obviously, I want to do a lot of builds if I can, but I know I can't, so I rather do fewer builds, but they're good ones, rather than a lot of them that are bad ones. And with that being said, I just hope that people understand how we operate and the things that we do. It's actually more like, I actually feel damn good saying this. So it's sort of like therapy for me to actually just mention the things that are normally on my head, because I try to explain to everyone that does come or does inquire how is it that we do things, and to get it out on video, things should be a lot easier. But I promise you guys, the next video will be definitely on a vehicle that we are currently building, so stay tuned for that. Thank you so much. Catch you guys on the next one. Thank you.